All right, good morning, everyone. This is my senior capstone proposal presentation. A quick overview, a little bit about me. My name is Alexa Kunkle. I'm currently studying at WWII. This is my 4-year degree. I graduated from WWII's Academy, which is an online school. My major is creative media, and my concentration is general studies. This is just an executive summary. I'll go over my plans for the senior capstone project. I will state my thesis, and then I will provide an overview of my objective and the research I conducted, and then I will address the significance of my project and back it up with my research. My thesis statement is, during World War II and the Vietnam War, visual propaganda and the psychology behind graphic design were used to influence the public, which helped contribute to distrust among countries, extreme nationalism, and boosted involvement. Sorry, 1 second. The main goal of this research is to highlight the persuasive power of design propaganda. How do I make smaller? Sorry, I can't read it because you guys are taking up my screen. Okay, we'll move over here. Show that being familiar with the target audience and the effectiveness of advertising and design tactics, opinions can be shifted and morale can be improved. Graphic design and the science behind visual marketing have long been interests of mine. I also am a bit of a history nerd, decided to tie these two passions together. Having grown up as a military brat and have spent most of my time on military bases, I've witnessed firsthand how military propaganda has convinced people to enlist and led them to have kind of the wrong idea of what they were getting into. I have an interest in career marketing. Understanding the psychology behind it is important. By researching the extremes of visual persuasion, such as propaganda, there can be some fascinating takeaways about advertising and persuasion through images, text, and color as a whole. For my capstone project, I intend to create a series of posters and similar art styles to the propaganda I researched, with slogans and imagery that pokes at the irony of the messages within wartime propaganda. I also plan to make a website showcasing the posters I created, as well as present the research I've done and my reasoning behind the project. My research provides me with information on what propaganda looked like, as well as the effectiveness of certain tactics. What I've learned can help me in my design process. Significance. Propaganda is effective in persuading the opinions of people. This is extremely apparent during World War II. It is important to be aware of the tactics used and what makes them successful in selling ideas to the public. The visualization of marginalized groups can ultimately lead to the tolerizing of the mistreatment of such groups. It's also interesting to take the differences and similarities between countries into account. This can provide valuable insight on what and isn't effective on people depending on location and situation, such as certain art styles or images or messages or basically what you're saying to each country. What does this say about propaganda and advertising in general? The research showcases how effective a good campaign can be, such as the Rosie the Riveter campaign. It led to an increase in women in the work field. And then the push for war bonds through propaganda led to 85, roughly 74% of the population at the time, million Americans purchasing 180 million worth of war bonds. Well, it is sort of difficult to directly say that there's an exact cause and effect of propaganda, especially during World War II. We can't go back and have polls of did this affect you, but there's no denying that they did have a direct impact because there was a lot of promoting for the push to purchase war bonds, and this data backs that. And then another one that I wanted to share was a study by Wolton Langer where he analyzed how in certain areas that had more radio propaganda boosted, there was sorry, there was a boost in anti-Semitism. He said these findings suggest that by reinforcing pre-existing racial hatred, Nazi indoctrination contributed importantly to the long-term persistence of anti-Semitism in Germany. Uh, so this also ties into marketing and advertising because you're taking your audience into account and saying kind of what they want to hear and reinstilling certain ideas to push it to a more extreme point instead of just thoughts. It led to actions. My target audience. My target audience is those looking for more information about propaganda during World War II, uh, either to inform themselves better on the topic or see how design and advertising tactics are tied to its success. Ages 20 to 45, so just adults who are college educated, looking to have a college education, or currently pursuing that. People looking to inform themselves on what propaganda could look like and the tactics used, and adult academics and my peers. A proposed solution. The propaganda needs to have more attention drawn to it. My capstone provides information on how it led to the mistreatment of minorities, divide between countries, and extreme nationalism. By highlighting the tactics to use, one can avoid falling victim to them in future cases. And then on to my preparation slash process. In the beginning, I want to narrow down my research and information for the website so I know what I'm putting on there because, a whole 16-page research paper wouldn't fit on a website very nicely. And then I would like to select specific topics and aims for my propaganda posters. What am I trying to say with them? And then how can I use that to move on to my production process? And then I want to continue to analyze propaganda from World War II and how it can be recreated with goals in mind. So just compile as many images as I can. Which ones do I think stuck out the most, and why do I think that happened? And then onto the production phase, I'm going to sketch the posters, create a wireframe for the website, write copy for the website and posters. So what information are we going to put on there and where? Design the website, design the posters, and then I would like to design a total of 4 to 6 posters just so that I can put my best effort into them and not overwhelm myself with too many. And then I can also focus on what I'm writing and making sure the website looks nice and presentable. I'd like to have one for each country I discussed. I'm mainly focused on the effects of propaganda in Germany, Japan, and the United States. And then towards post-production, I'm going to compile everything and make edits needed for feedback, run usability tests to ensure the website flows nicely and the images look good, because sometimes when you upload things, they don't always look the best quality. So I'm going to just double check that everything is correct. Deliverable. Our first deliverable is going to be the propaganda posters, highlighting the irony of messages governments were selling. On the left, I have some of my own graphic design work, and then on the right, I have one of the most, I think, infamous propaganda posters that was created during World War One. World War II. I think this one came out in 1940. I want to kind of bring awareness to some of the horrible effects of World War II through propaganda posters, like how, while still highlighting what these countries were trying to sell with propaganda and how they weren't living up to their expectations, basically, if that makes sense. For example, I wanted to bring up the Japanese people that were basically thrown into camps during World War II because they were, people thought that they were spies, which wasn't true. They were just poor, innocent Japanese people that were just kidnapped, basically. And, America's known as being land of the free, so I thought that maybe I could put that with the red text and then create an image or redraw an image that has been found from that. That's just one idea that I had. I'm going to narrow down my other ones and sketch them out. And then on to the website and the copy. Here are some websites that I found to be inspiring for my own project and something that I would kind of like to not recreate, but take inspiration from. Uh, this one by the National Archives had several propaganda posters and basically explained um, a little bit about them and why they were created and how effective they were. So I would like to do something similar where I put my poster that I created and then provide an explanation of my process behind it and um, share the story of what happened in the image. And then that's about it for that one. I feel like this is pretty explanatory. And that's all. Thank you. Any questions?